Hello everyone and thanks for stopping by my channel. I am Serge T. In this video I will be talking about Monday Night Raw for the 29th of April 2024. This is the WWE Draft 2024 and what a night for NXT. But let's go into this whole affair, this whole evening. And let's talk about Monday Night Raw. It comes to you from Kansas City. And then we see Logan Paul arriving. And he has Patrick Mahomes with him. And the Judgment Day pop in and they talk to them. And, they share niceties and all that stuff. And Damian Priest, the World Heavyweight Champion, is complimentary of Logan Paul. And that's that. And then we go into Pat McAfee and Michael Cole opening the show. They did that last week. And then we see Becky Lynch. She's introduced. She is, of course, the new Women's World Champion. The man was born in KC, she said. That's where that whole thing of, happened 6 years ago and she was left bloodied. And then here she is 6 years later as a champion. You deserve it, chants ring out. I'm like, at the moment I was like, oh God, here we go again. But I'm thinking, yeah, she deserves it. Becky's not everyone's cup of tea, but then again, I got no problem with her. She comes across as very wholesome and as very, just honest in who she is. She's the man. She kick your ass. Women should take notice, right? She's like as you take her, right? She's presented as is. And there's nothing wrong with her. I don't think so. Now she thanks him. And says she's about to defend. She says she is about defending her title, and a new challenger should be around. Should be upcoming. And then Liv's music hits, and she comes out. She says she is the #1 contender. Becky's looking for her. It's like, yeah, you want somebody a #1 contender? It's me. And then mommy chants ring out. And I guess that heel turn should be coming anytime soon. She was still a baby face. The way she acted, she didn't look like she was disturbed or she was bothered by them, pretty much booing her. But there were moments when they were cheering her, but it's like, it's there. There's no denying it. They need to turn her heel because if she goes against Becky Lynch goes against Rhea Ripley if she comes back, she's not going to be able to play the babyface unless they're going to do a thing where it's babyface and babyface or babyface and tweener, because that's what Rhea Ripley is. Now she doesn't want it handed to her, says Liv, but Becky owes her one. The only reason she is the champ is because she couldn't do it at WrestleMania, and what Liv did, she didn't do what Liv did. Liv took out Rhea Ripley. And the crowd boos. Because, of course, he's talking about taking out Rhea Ripley. Everybody loves Rhea Ripley. I love Rhea Ripley. So what she says pretty much isn't going to be like, oh, you did. It's going to be like, boo. You did. That's right. You took her out. Hell with you. That stuff. Now, after all, it is the Liv Morgan revenge tour, she says. And again, the crowd boos. They don't care. She says the end game was always Liv, and she won't stop till she gets everything she wants. Now Becky agrees, and she wouldn't be champ if Liv hadn't taken out Ripley. And Liv would have been champ if Becky hadn't done to her what she did. Funny how that works out, says Becky. Now Nia Jax's music hits, and she points out that KC is rude. She comes out rude, like they're all booing her and stuff. And she lets the ladies in the ring know that. She lets them know that, and how she laid them out last week, and she did. Now tonight is her last night on Raw, and she intends on taking one of them with her, and Liv accepts her challenge. Good thing, because I don't want to see a champion going one-on-one with Nia Jax, because you know who's going to lose, Nia Jax, right? Now Stephanie McMahon, she's here, and she'll kick off the draft. Night 2 of the draft, that is, and I am happy to see her. You know, and who wouldn't be? I haven't seen her in a while, since she left. Now that her dad's gone, here she is. This is her second appearance. WrestleMania was one. Here she is at one of the more important nights in WWE. That is the Monday Night Raw's Night 2 of the draft. You know, she says it's great to be back in KC, and it's great to have her back. The first pick, she's going into it. The first pick in the first round, I should say, for Raw is Gunther and Kaiser, but no Vinci. Interesting. I guess Vinci Giovanni is gone. No longer a part. So what are they going to do? Send him to NXT? Maybe do that whole thing that they're doing with him before, that vignettes and his character and how he was and stuff like that. You know? Fabian Eichner, he used to be. Now he's, what do you call it? Maybe they reinvent him and maybe make him Fabian Eichner again. But his character, his vignettes and all that stuff, when they introduced him as Giovanni Vinci, actually was very, very interesting. A guy who had high-end cars and ladies and slick, looking like a Bond, what do you call it? He could have been James Bond, but he looks like a Bond villain. Looking very, very sharp, you know, and stuff like that. And they could do that again. Now, the second pick in the first round is Jade. And she's going to SmackDown. So Bianca and Jade's going to stay together. Because remember, Bianca was the first round draft pick. And she was saying that she hopes, when she was being interviewed, she hopes that Jade stays here. And there you are. So, that's good. Now, the third pick in the first round for Raw is Damage Control. Here we go. Don't take any kind of risk in taking any kind of a different, like, holy shit path. And, oh, you're separating people. What's going to happen with that one person? Or, you know, like that. I mean, you know, I'm going to talk about my thoughts about this because there's quite a number of factions that got, you know, they got, what do you call it, drafted together. There's no shakeup in that. There's no, you know, rattling the foundation and making stuff like, oh my god, oh crap, you know. I mean, Gunther and Kaiser, they're a group, but it's like just two of them. But they're part of that as the groups are getting, you know, getting drafted. Now the final pick in the first round for SmackDown is KO. How many people are being put on different brands? I think a majority of the people that were drafted stayed under brand. What kind of a draft is that? That's not different. That's not, you know, you're supposed to make your brand look kind of different, bring people over. How about you bring like maybe 75% of Raw to SmackDown, and then vice versa? It's going to be a different look, different challengers for the championships. You know? But what's going on with that, you know? Now, the Ring General is accompanied by Ludwig Kaiser, and he's in action next. And from the Through Day, Xavier Woods. I will not refer to them as their old name to me. They're the Through Day, because they're through. He comes out with his fellow clown, Kofi Kingston. And Gunther, please, humble Woods, please, I beg of you. And Gunther is taking Woods to the proverbial woodshed, as good old JR used to say, and is targeting the right knee, and Woods is dumb enough to get his knees up when Gunther has him in his sights going for that splash, and then, you know, Xavier Woods puts his knees up, and you do that, of course, to kind of reverse the situation and kind of like take the momentum from the guy, but he has a bright, but probably it's because it's that, what do you call it, it's pretty much it's a reflex action. It's a, you know, it's just basically a reaction. Like that's what you always do, right? And then at one point he has Woods in a half crab. He's about to tap, and then Kofi asks for a towel. He's on the apron going like this. I'm going to throw the towel, and you see Kaiser going, yeah, go ahead, go ahead. And he ends up throwing it in the crowd. And then Gunther slaps in STF. And then he calls, and all's I'm saying and all's I'm shouting is tap out, you mother effer. And he does. And he loses. Good. You got to make Gunther look strong. And he's on his way eventually for a world title reign, or at least a world title run. He's going to win the King of the Ring. I predict that. And then he's going to go on, maybe in SummerSlam. That's where he's going to earn that title shot. He'll probably get it at SummerSlam and win the world title. Who knows? It'll give Damian Priest a pretty good run. But Damian Priest got Jey Uso this Saturday. I'm surprised. Backlash is already here, Saturday. And he's going to be challenged by Jey Uso. Jey Uso gets the title shot. So we'll see how Jey does. Now, Jey is feeling no pressure. He's being interviewed backstage. And as the overall number one contender, overall number one pick, I should say, and of course the number one contender for Damian Priest's World Heavyweight Championship. But what does he think of Logan Paul's words earlier? He's calling him the ugly Uso and all this nonsense. And he says, well, he was saying pretty much that WWE, they signed a Paul brother, but he wishes it was the Paul with the winning record. Now, I'm not familiar with Jake Paul and his record. I know who he is, but I don't follow him. I don't know his win-loss records in boxing. He's taking on Tyson pretty soon. And I hope Tyson knocks his ass out. But we'll see about that. But that's kind of some pretty cold-ass words from Jey, and I love it. Now, Logan Paul and I show speed. He says, I show speed's that one guy that got RKO'd, right, last week? Or before by Randy Orton. And all I see is a dork. And then Samantha Irvin introduces Patrick Mahomes because Logan Paul wants her to give that Samantha Irvin type of intro. And I had no problem. I'm a Niners fan. He beat my Niners. But it's like, I always thought that he was a good dude, but here pretty much came off like a jackass, like a motherfucker, like an asshole. You know what I mean? Doing what he was doing with Logan Paul. I get it, it's for show and everything. He wanted to, and I'm sure he had fun. And I still respect him as a quarterback, and I still think he's one of the best. Sure, Super Bowl champion, former 3-time Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion too. So I give him his due. But here, man, he was kind of the. Riding along that heel fucking thing because he's with fucking Logan Paul. Doesn't understand that Logan Paul's a big heel right now? And I don't think he's a heel or someone that they look at as a bad guy in NFL. But anyway, those two idiots are doing the Logan Paul and I Show Speed. What the fucking kind of name is that? I Show Speed. He's a dork too. Like the way he acts. Like, dude, it's not about you. Nobody knows who you are. And if they do, they must be dorks. I don't know. I never heard of this guy until he tagged along with Logan Paul. Now, they go on. They say the first pick in the second round for Raw is CM Punk. And then the commentators say, oh, I wonder what Drew's going to think about this. And we'll hear about that later on. Now, the second pick in the second round for SmackDown is The Pride. All of them. Again, another group going over. Bobby Lashley's not separated from them, or Montez Ford. Maybe you do that in order to see how he can do on his own. They might eventually put him back with Antonio, with Dawkins, right? But he didn't do that. He didn't want to take no risk. And then the third pick for the second round for Raw is Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman's back, and we'll see what happens with that gentleman during this show. Will he appear? Will he not appear? We'll see. Then the final pick is in the second round for SmackDown is Tiffany Stratton. And Cole points out what is wrong in this draft, and that is keeping superstars on your you keep the people on there so that the other brand doesn't get them. And well, how does that shake anything up? Like I said, Like, I get it. You want your brand strong, but aren't you eyeing other people? Like, man, have him on our brand. Shoot, that'd be great. But like he said, he pointed it out. Maybe he's trying to kind of channel the people out there that have come up with that thing. He might wants to talk for the people out there that are making that type of thing, type of a gripe and complain and all that stuff. Now Logan talks, but really, who cares? He's thinking he's going to cut a promo, another promo heavy show. I mean, I almost passed out just because so much talking. Action, come on, let's have some action. How many matches were on this thing? I couldn't tell. We're few and far between. You know what I mean? Now he talks about Jay and says he will lose to Damian Priest. And as he's about to give, you know, play-by-play on the outcome of Jay's match, Uce comes out. And thanks God, because Paul is annoying and grating. And I'm glad he came out. Thank God he came out, because he was so annoying. And he is. I give him his due, his props, and what he does in the ring and stuff like that. But doesn't mean I have to like the guy. I can, you know, stuff like that. Now, as Jay talks, Yeats rang out. Now, can he beat Damian Priest? They go Yeet. Y'all think Jay Uso can be World Heavyweight Champ? They say Yeet. Y'all see Jay Uso knocking the Yeet out of Logan Paul for running his damn mouth? They all say Yeet. And then he goes, Logan Paul says, you think you can out-yeet me? Says Paul to Jay. He's been yeeting since 2017, and he lets out a cringy, yeah, yeet. Little bro Jay trying to roast me, says Paul. You ain't good when you're alone, Jay. That's why you got kicked out of the bloodline. And as he talks, Balor and McDonough walk to the ring. Because the difference between you and me, or you and I, is that me and the bloodline, we tight. And they're like, well, says Paul. Uso alone again. Couldn't fend for himself then, can't fend for himself now. A little behind with those 2 brain cells you have left in your head. Just like, totally just running them down, right? And he says, hey, Jay's vocabulary consists of 2 words, yeet and oos. Then Jay unleashes and attacks JD and Finn. He said yeet before that, or did he say oos? But he did say one of those words. And then Logan Paul goes over to Mahomes and places the 3 Super Bowl rings from him and goes to lay out Jay, but instead lays out JD. And just as Jay gets laid out by Braun Strowman that is, returns and hits the ring. And he choke slams Finn Balor, and then he makes a beeline for Paul. Then turns his attention to Mahomes. And for me, I wish he would have choke slammed him, because this night he deserved it, because he was aligning himself with Logan Paul. But Jay intervened, and Braun and he both headed backstage. And I'm thinking, is this the next thing with Braun Strowman going after that title? But he is on Raw, right? If I'm not mistaken, he's on Raw. Let me go back here. Let me go back and see. He's on Raw. Yeah, he's on Raw. And Logan Paul's on SmackDown with that U.S. title. So I was thinking that he was going to go after him, maybe. But guess not. But now let's keep moving on now. R-Truth thinks this is the NFL draft. And then Gable is on the receiving end of a haluva kick from the IC champ Sami Zayn. You see R-Truth, he's talking about, and Miz has to tell him that this isn't the NFL draft. Like, he's talking about, yeah, we're going to, be drafted and we're going to play on a football team. And, his silliness and his ridiculousness and his jokes are so funny. It still works, even in this stage of his career. I mean, good for him. I love the fact that he's definitely a guy who just continues to ride that same thing that works. And why fix it? It's like the whole thing of when it's broken, don't fix it, right? Now, backstage, the expert analyst of the draft, Booker T, Mr. Mushmouth himself, he and Drew have a little bit of tension as McIntyre points out that he knows how Booker feels about CM Punk. Remember that whole thing of him trying to lay some damn tension there, saying that CM Punk told him something. But I'm going to leave it to you guys to figure it out. when nothing happened, it was revealed later on. It's just like, you know. And he pretty much looks at him and says, you've changed, because it's like, yeah, you have your feelings about Punk. I mean, the fact that Booker says Punk being on Raw is big. That's what he said. Yet McIntyre hasn't been drafted yet, and Punk went before him. That was going to be a point of conjecture for the rest of this night, as long as we saw, Drew McIntyre on camera. Now, the IC Championship match with the champ Sami Zayn challenged by Big Bronson Reed. Hasn't he challenged before? He challenged Gunther, if I'm not mistaken. And they're going to give him a long title reign. So Bronson Reed's just somebody they're going to feed to him. And then maybe down the road, one day, he will be champion. Now, he starts off using his strength and size, because that's what he should do, and dominates Zayn, but Zayn gets control and hits a springboard moonsault, one of his patented moves, to the outside and takes out Reed. But the big man regains control after catching Zayn in midair. Man, this is a seesaw battle we are witnessing. I enjoyed this match. It was good. It goes to show that Sami Zayn can go against a big guy. And then you see Bronson Reed can kind of keep up with quicker guys, More of a power guy, but you can see that he can definitely know how to handle those guys. Just uses power and strength. Now, a buckle bomb into a power bomb. It's like by Reed. It was a sight to behold. Like, you see him do that. What do you call that? He just throws him like a buckle bomb. And we all know that. And once he comes off of the damn buckle, he follows it up with a power bomb. It was smooth. It was seamless. Like, it was amazing. But Sammy kicked out. Holy crap, And I was like, how do you do that? And Zayn somehow turns things around and nails Reed with a haluva kick. I mean, this match was all but Sammy's to win. He was about to get the pin, right? And then Gable comes in, he interferes and delivers a German to Zayn, and the ref calls it. Gable then locks in the ankle lock as refs attempt to pull him off. And as Zayn is released, he is met with a tsunami splash by Bronson Reed. But I'm like, not so fast there, Gable. He probably thought he had an ally for just that one match or that damn period of time. But nope, he gets, put into the Death Valley driver by Bronson Reed. Because Bronson Reed don't play. He don't care who you are. You've seen him before where he'll go after heels and baby faces. If you're in his way of him trying to, what you call that word? He's trying to reach that goal of what he has in his mind, and you do that, you ain't gonna get away. I think Gable thought he was okay, but nope. And like I said, he took out Gable, and that's what he got. That's what he deserved. Now round 3 picks are in. Cole mentions that, and then we get to it, and the APA are back together. Ron Simmons or Farouk and JBL. Hope we get a damn. Hope we get that from old Ron Simmons there before they get done. Now the first pick in round 3, Raw. I like to say like Raw. That's not like, instead of saying Raw, he says Raw on JBL. And he selects the Hall of Famer. And in JBL's words, deadbeat dad. He says it kind of in a low tone, as if he's trying to get it there and then move on, because he doesn't want to get in trouble for saying that about Rey. But it's Rey Mysterio. It's Dragon Lee. It's Cruz del Toro. It's Joaquin Wilde. It's Zelina Vega. And Carlito? Well, technically he's still part of them. They didn't say that he's no longer a part of us, but, that's just weird. But at least they keep him on there, because this may be a start of a new feud for Rey. We'll see. Second pick in the 3rd round, Seth McMahon picks Legado del Fantasma, another group. So there you go. Separate these 2 factions and let them battle someone else. That's a good thing. And like I said, Carlito being on the same brand as Rey and Ellie and the LWO, that opens up another feud. Good. That's what needs to be done. That needs to be happened. That's what needs to be happening. 3rd pick of the 3rd round, Raw picks Drew McIntyre. And we see that WWE wants to pit Drew against Punk in a future feud. It's brewing right now. It's pretty much almost at a boil, the pot there with the soup, whatever you want to call it, is in there. It's starting a little bit. You see a little bit of the bubbles coming up, but it's not boiling yet. But it's getting there, you know. And it's a good thing to keep them on the same brand, you know. So we'll see where that goes, and we could definitely see what happens in the show tonight when it came to those two. Good stuff. But let's continue moving on with this, and I'll talk about that later. The final pick of the third round, SmackDown picks Shinsuke Nakamura. Is anything going to happen with Shinsuke? Is he going to continue to be just the heel guy that puts the fucking babyface over? It actually is good to see that, but at the same time, you know, I love Shinsuke. I think he's great. He still's got some stuff in him, you know, some, you know, mileage in him. You know what I mean? So hopefully they do something with him. If not, then I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you. Get a resurgence in NXT again. Put over the younger guys there, but then it's going to be the same old thing. You know, is this as far as they're going to do? Which go with Shinsuke? You know, I'm a fan of his heel work, but I mean more better than the heel work that he did before. But so we'll see. Now, McIntyre's music hits. He is livid that he is picked in round 3. Now, can anybody in the arena look him in the eye, he says, and tell him it makes sense? If they say that, he'll tell them to their face that they are a liar. He approaches APA, they're there still, and he says, are they done drinking since Friday? Because he's not joking. That's how stupid it sounds, right? That they're going to approach them. Are you done drinking? Because, of course, they're not going to be, you know, they're not going to finish drinking. They're like, you know, APA, right? And then the CM Punk chants start up. And then he goes, think that's cool to have your anti-establishment chant his name, and he is far from anti-establishment, right? He's far from anti-establishment. He is corporate. He's a corporate arse kisser. But Punk, congratulations, he says. Congratulations, Punk. You have finally achieved something since you came back to WWE. You hurt Drew McIntyre. Now, WrestleMania, when you attacked me from behind like a coward, you fractured my elbow. But unlike you, staying at home, kicking your feet back, collecting your paycheck, I came to work. Week after week, I tape it up, and I get on with it because I am actually a real man. Now, Punk's music hits. You see the behind him, the Titantron, the CM Punk graphic and all that stuff, right? The video plays, and then Drew puts his hands up because it's playing for a while, and he says, yeah, you want to play mind games? He's looking around. Cut the music. Cut the music. It's Punk's voice. He says, is it good to be alive on a Monday night in Kansas City? Or what? You know, like, he's like, is it good to be alive on a Monday night in Kansas City or what? Says CM Punk, who is in the crowd. Well, he's atop the crowd in a skybox. I'm not sitting at home. I'm right here, you little bitch. Ooh, that's like, you know, that had to get to Brew. Or it's just funny to hear. Because, you know, I like the new era. These guys can slip in a little bit of those salty, little salty language words. You know what I mean? And then we do get a response from Farouk when all this is said and done. Because, you know, as the crowd cheers Punk, Punk waves, and then Drew storms off stage and possibly to confront him, CM Punk. And then we do get that response from Farouk, from Ron Simmons. Damn! I loved it. I loved it. That's what I was holding on. You know, sometimes he does it and he goes, he's just doing it for the bit. But here it was funny because it was just like such craziness. What the hell's going on with Punk and what you call it, right? But he does that with the other stuff too. And sometimes it gets a little bit too much, like he's doing it too much, but then sometimes he knows how to pull it back and just pull it out for special occasions, right? And that's right. And who doesn't love, Ron Simmons, Farouk? I do. He's great. Now, Alpha Academy are backstage, and the boys are hyping up Maxine, who had 2 eliminations in the Battle Royal to determine the new women's champion in that. And she eliminated Candice LeRae, and she eliminated Indy Hartwell. Well, that doesn't impress Gable, who asks, where's your championship? Well, she says she didn't win. And he said, You know what I mean? And you know, did you win? Did you? Gable says, you didn't win, which means that you lost. So what do you want? You want for me to celebrate mediocrity now? Is that what we do here, huh? You want a ribbon for participating? Is that what you want? It's like the whole generation of like you don't know how to lose, so they're gonna get a participation trophy and all that stuff instead of like earning it. He says it's pathetic. And as for you two, he looks at Otis. He says, get it together. And he says, all right, Tosawa, I swear to God, if I see you do that dance tonight. Who doesn't want to see that dance? I don't want to see it. It kind of looks retarded. It kind of looks weird. Sorry for the word. Excuse me. But it does look dumb. And he goes to tells the both of them, he said, now go out and win me a freaking championship. And when Gable said that, totally reminded me of Kurt Angle, because he sounded just like him when he said that. Freaking, you know, he goes, I wrestled in the Olympics with a freaking broken neck, you know. Excuse me. Now, Braun Breaker's backstage with Kathy Kelly, the lovely Kathy Kelly. Love seeing her. So he gives his thoughts on being drafted to Monday Night Raw. I think Adam Pearce knows I am the best possible pick here for Monday Night Raw, because I am here to take this place over. Sheamus interrupts, and as Braun gets a little agitated, telling the big fella why he interrupted him, Sheamus tells Braun to save his breath and cool his porridge. Cool his porridge. I guess that's an Irish thing. He wants Braun to know he came over to tell him he's a big fan, yeah? It's just him trying to see who the BMF is around here. I guess that stands for the big motherfucker. It's just him saying that Braun reminds him of a young, hungry Sheamus, having banger after banger after banger. And then you see, as you say that, you see Drew walk behind him, looking, of course, for CM Punk, and then you hear Braun Breaker go, banger, huh? You notice how I almost said Braun Strowman? It's like you got two Brauns on one brand now. How are they going to fix that? I believe his real name, Braun Breaker, is Bronson, I believe. So I don't know if they're going to... I don't know. Because he's going to have two Brauns now on Raw. Yeah. How are they going to do that? I don't know. Now, finally, we get a match after a seemingly promo-heavy Raw. Like I said, like Raw, SmackDown was the same thing. And I'm like, well, how many matches have we had up to this point? I can't remember. But up next is Candice LeRae, who is accompanied by Indy. And I was thinking, at first, is it a tag match? Is one of them facing another person? But it's Candice versus Maxine, because Maxine was preparing for her match, right? Getting amped up and pumped up by her boys there, by her fellow Academy members there. And, of course, she is accompanied, Maxine Dupree is, by the Pitbull, Ivy Nile. Love her. Think she's great, too. Now, Maxine is trying, she's getting off some offense during the match. A caterpillar, which I kind of like what she does. She does a little cartwheel, and then she does a backflip. It kind of looks weird when she does that and then transitions into an elbow. She should just do it to where she does a splash from that thing. But it looks awkward because she's doing it reverse, and she's trying to put a spin on it, more feminine look to it. It does look good for her, but I gotta say that she does look crisp in the ring. And I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, guys. I know that she's still a long ways to go, but it's like when she's doing things, it kind of looks like she's been working on it. That's all we can ask for. Now, she's in the ring and she's kind of getting that offense off, and she's doing all this stuff, and then she gets an ankle lock, on, but then Indy drives Ivy into the ring post, and then what does she do? Maxine Dupree, she's looking at, what happened to her buddy there, and then that distraction is just enough for Candice to get Maxine into a position to deliver a move she calls the Wicked Stepmother. I remember that move from NXT. Which she literally just Candice that's holding a person's arms behind her, and then she just stomps her face into the ground. and then she gets the 1-2-3. I think when she did that, she would use that as a setup, and then she would put the Gargano stretch or the move that her husband does, and she did it. I don't know what to say about the move, but I guess you could do that and knock someone out, I guess. I don't know. Knock them dizzy. They can't focus on kicking out, I guess. I don't know. But she gets the win. Candice does, so she continues to look strong. I think they're trying to build her up as a heel now. And Maxine Dupree and them will probably have another match. Maybe another tag team match between the four ladies. Now, the fourth round picks are in. LWO are interviewed, and what does Ray feel about the attack last week by Carlito? He says a lot of mixed emotions, you know. But Ray says that the LWO are very excited, he and Ray in the LWO, to be on Raw. And as for Carlito, I don't know why he did what he did, which means we still have some unfinished business. And Dom, shuffles in, calling his pops an old geezer. Says, don't forget, Judgment Day runs Monday Night Raw, so welcome back to you and your little lollipop guild. Don't know if he's saying that because all those guys are pretty short compared to him. Even Zelina Vega. So I don't know if he's calling him that because of that, or just, kind of makes sense for him to say it because of that. But Ray answers, how are you going to run things on Monday Night Raw when you haven't even been drafted? And wait a minute, what's that on your lips, Dirty Sanchez? Like, his mustache and all that shit. Don't want to get into that because there's a sexual connotation with Dirty Sanchez. Look it up if you guys are curious of what that means. And I apologize if you guys get upset because you looked it up. I think some of you who are going to watch this video know what that means. And then Dom answers, you're lucky I'm not cleared. Now, Drew is in a constant search of CM Punk, and he just misses him as Punk's music hits. And when he goes to his skybox, whatever like that, he sees a sign thing. I don't know if it says, see you in the ring or something like that, because I couldn't see close enough. But he just misses him as Punk, his music hits, and then he enters the arena and steps into the ring. He talks and starts talking and says, I love KC and the people that inhabit it. So I don't want to waste your time like Drew McIntyre. So I'm going to try to do this in less time than the last time you were world champion. Which means I got 5 minutes and 46 seconds. And then he goes to Pat McAfee and says, Pat, time me. But this would normally be the part of the program where I ask you, do I have your attention now? But I can see clear as day, just like everybody here, I had your attention for quite some time talking to Drew. You're like an ex-girlfriend that I can't get rid of. And you say I hurt your elbow. Good. You pray for me to get injured. I did that to you. I thought you maybe got hurt sitting on Twitter and tweeting because that's all you're good for. And that is why I was drafted before you. I'm not mad. I'm out for revenge. And you've given me purpose. CM Punk chants ring out. The reason Drew McIntyre was drafted before, reason Drew McIntyre was drafted before you is simple. It's simple wrestling economics. Sorry. It's because I am the best in the world. In this ring, on this microphone, even at the commentary. No one can touch me. No offense, Pat and Michael. Minute 30 in, says McAfee as he's continuing to time. At a minute 30 now. Losers hope things happen, and losers pray for things to happen. Winners make it happen. And when I'm cleared, when I'm at 100%, I promise you, I'm going to make your life a living hell. And he proceeds to turn his back as he's in the seated position, that Indian crisscross applesauce position there, sitting on the floor, sitting on the ring there. He turns his back to McIntyre in an ultimate sign of disrespect. Now, we then hear Teddy Long's music hit. You see CM Punk react like, damn, hey, Teddy's coming down. Are we going to see someone go one-on-one with The Undertaker? That's his classic line. But it's Teddy and Alundra Blaze. Good to see her. to announce the next draft picks. The first pick in the fourth round, Raw selects the Judgment Day. And why not? Damian Priest is on Raw, so why not? So why split them up? You know, WWE hasn't done so yet, so why go against the grain, right? In the second pick of the fourth round, SmackDown selects Naomi. The third picks in the fourth round, Raw selects from NXT, Ilya Dragunov. I said that he was going to be drafted after dropping the title to Trick Williams, his NXT championship. Good to see him. Holy crap. I cannot wait to see what he does on the Raw brand. And I'm saying, whoever's going to be world champion, you better watch out, because this guy's going to be nipping at your heels. This guy's a great champion, a great NXT UK champion. He defeated the one who pretty much, he's the one that ended Gunther's long 800 some odd day reign of being the NXT UK champion. So, you know, he shares some pretty good company with Sami Zayn, who ended Gunther's Intercontinental. Imagine if they would have waited and have him drop it to Ilya. So we'll see. And then with the final pick in the fourth round, SmackDown selects Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. I like the two ladies. I think they're doing okay. And, you know, we'll see what happens with them. I know that Adam Pearce is happy. He even said later on that hopefully you can, you know, deal with them and their nonsense, you know. Now, Liv Morgan takes on Nia Jax. And this is Nia Jax's final match on Raw. Now, Nia's dominating. Of course she is. Using her strength and physicality. But Liv uses her high offense. She has drop kicks. She's bouncing all over. But Jax stops Morgan in her tracks and sets up for the Annihilator. But Liv does stop that. But Nia takes over again. Also, we see it's Stiffy time as Tiffany Stratton is seated to the right of Pat McAfee, like right there where all the Prime drinks, the Prime setup is right there. She's right there, looking lovely, looking pretty like she always does. And Oblivion, it ends this match. It's as Liv takes advantage of all the chaos, like Naomi, you know, attacks Tiffany from behind, and they're all over the place. You see her. Naomi on the ring apron, and then she proceeds to take out Tiffany Stratton, and then Nia Jax. I don't know why these men always get distracted by someone outside the ring. Focus on the side, what's inside, because look what happened to her. She got set up, and she ended up being hit with a Oblivion. Now, the last pick. Now it's 2 for Raw. You know, that's what. What's his name? Adam Pearce said as he was heading out. But then we see a little promo, little vignette for SummerSlam. That's going to take place August 3rd, and tickets are going to be going on sale. And it's going to be in Cleveland. So that's the hometown of The Miz, and I'm sure he's going to hope to be still tag team champion with R-Truth when it comes rolling around. Now, the Dudleys, they come out with a table in tow. Is someone going through it? I have an idea who I would like to see go through it. I'm not going to go into it. I'll leave that up for you guys to think. Just watch the videos that I've done, and maybe you'll have a feeling of who I want to go through a table. Now, the 5th round is up, and the Dudleys, you know, they're, of course, there, and they're here to let us know who's going to be drafted. And the first pick in the 5th round, Raw selects the Through Day. Whoopee! Next. And then the second pick in the 5th round for SmackDown is Pretty Deadly. Again, another. Whatever. And the third pick in the 5th round for Raw is Lyra Valkyria. The lovely Lyra Valkyria, and I love that pick because I have been a fan of her since NXT UK. She was very injury prone in the beginning. She got injured, I think, twice or something like that, and she was being set up for for a title match and all that stuff at one point, and then she got injured, and then she came back with a vengeance. She got injured again. But she's been steady now, and she's, of course, a former NXT Women's Champion. And I'm glad that she's here. It's awesome. It's another member of NXT coming on over. And then the final pick for the 5th round is Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, who are headed to SmackDown. I love the ladies, but it was just like, okay, they're headed over to SmackDown. I'm like, is this a big deal? Not anything like that, but it's just like, I wish I felt more excited for those two. And I do love them, but it's like, they're starting to do something now with Candice LeRae and Indy now. Indy has come around and now she's a heel. She's accepted the dark side with Candice LeRae. And they're working on it, and it's a work in progress, and I hope that it comes through and it actually goes over. And that they find their position and their thing as heels. I would love to see that. Now, the Awesome Truth and the Alpha Academy for the tag titles. And then we just see that it's just one of those matches, and then the Truth Crushing finale ends this throwaway match, and the champs retain. Now, we then see the Judgment Day. They're bummed that they were drafted in the 4th round, but Priest points out why, and then tells them he doesn't need them to beat Jay, especially at Backlash. So he's kind of like continuing to tell them what to do, and they're kind of cool with it now, but it's going to get to the point where one day they're going to turn on him, leave his ass, whatever. Now, we see Liv Morgan. She bumps into Becky, and she congrats Liv, Becky does, on her win. And then Damage Control bump into Becky, and it looks like they may be targeting the man in her title, because Dakota Kai goes, "See you around," and you see, what's her name? Io Sky kind of eye her really more intently than the other ones did. So I think she's looking for that title. She was probably going to go after Bayley, but now she's on Raw, so she's going to go after Becky. We'll see. Now, the first pick in the final round, Raw selects the Final Testament. I must say, why didn't WWE say that not only are the champs safe and won't be drafted, but the stables will remain intact? It's like, geez Louise, man. It's like, what is that? It's like, it's crazy. Again, they just don't want to take risks and stuff like that. Maybe it's because these guys, they want them to continue to build on their whatever momentum they have. But I think that what I said before, past videos, they need to select one person they think can go on their own, or even give them a chance and see what they can do on their own, and separate them in a draft. Because I remember Bubba Ray and Devon in a draft way back in the day, where they were both separated. They tried and gave them singles runs to see how they did. I think they both failed, but they at least tried, right? Reverend Devon, right? And then Bubba Ray was just Bubba Ray. At least we saw Batista, Deacon Batista, right? He was the right-hand man of what do you call it, of Devon, of Reverend Devon, right? At least we saw, Batista, get away from that and be the big star that he was. Now, the second pick of the final round, SmackDown selects DIY. They kind of failed on Raw to get the tag team titles. Maybe they'll do better on SmackDown. And then the third pick in the final round, Raw selects Big Bronson Reed. I got high hopes for the guy. Hopefully one day he will be a champion. Intercontinental champion, U.S. champ, tag champ, maybe the world title. You never know. Especially with Triple H's, his thing, right? With him doing what he's doing, right? And, running things and being head of creative and all that stuff. Maybe that might be the end result for him, the end game for him. Bronson Reed. Now, the final pick of the final round, SmackDown selects Blair Davenport. So that's 3 people from NXT, if I'm not mistaken. And she's another favorite of mine. I love her. I think she's great. And I'm glad that she's on SmackDown. And she's on the main roster. Those of you who are not familiar with her, man, be ready. Because she is definitely going to be money. If they put her in the right feud, put her up against the right opponent, man, she could be a main eventer too. She's got that kind of skill set. right up there with Bianca, right up there with Becky, right up there with Charlotte. She can easily be in that mix. And I could probably see her and maybe even Lyra Valkyria. Well, Lyra Valkyria is on Raw, right? Yeah, so, but whatever, I'm trying to think, but, you know, uh, Blair's on SmackDown. Lyra Valkyrie's on Raw. Yeah, they can't do it. Not now, but maybe in the future. Now, let's move on to the main event. Main event time, and why not have main event Jey Uso involved in the six-man tag? And his partners are Ricochet and Andrade, and they're going to go against the Judgment Day. Now, Priest, Balor, and JD, you got Priest, you got Balor, and JD got a big old knot on his head with nasty bruising on his face, right over his eye area. Backstage, he was like, "Oh man, are the lights usually this bright?" I remember even Priest goes, "Damn, man, like what the," like when you saw him closely, like you didn't realize how bad, because now it's from that, from the damn 3 Super Bowl rings on what do you call this hand, Logan Paul, inadvertently knocking JD down, punching him in the face. And of course, like I said, it's courtesy of Logan Paul. I mean, what the. Now, Michael Cole's Apple Watch. This is during the time when he asked if Cole needed medical attention because Priest took a tumble onto the announcer's table, which was hilarious because, Pat McAfee mentioning it and stuff. And I like the rapport between them because, they just go back and forth. And I love how Pat McAfee just eggs him on. Stuff like that. Like the whole thing with the Fall Guy, because that's a movie coming out. And it's based on a TV series back in the 80s that I loved. It starred Lee Majors, and he's all going, "What's the name of the movie? Fall Guy. What's it about? A stuntman. Who's the actor? Ryan Gosling. Who's the actress? Emily Blunt. And what's the name of the movie again?" And then Cole's like, "Are you here? Are you listening to me, you goof?" Like in a funny way. It's just funny. I love the report, the back and forth, the banter is so fucking hilarious. It's funny. It took a while for me to kind of get used to him, but I love Pat McAfee. I think he's great. The way he says O's and some of the words that have O's, still I'm like going, wow, why does he say it like that? Is that an accent that he has from wherever state he's from in the U.S., Southern, whatever kind of, I don't know what that is, but it's just weird. Now this match, 6-man tag match, it's a basic multi-man match, which I am not a big fan of, but this match is fun. That's what a lot of these matches are. They're fun, but it's just like a excuse just to put all these people in one match, But it's back and forth, each team's taking control. They're getting this shit in. Now, a lot of miscues towards the end from the Judgment Day, as Jay hits a spear and he connects on Balor, and he sets him up for the Uso splash, and he gets the 1, 2, 3. And then as this goes on, we see, draped over the ropes, just looking ahead. We see the world champ Damian Priest looking on and realizing that his boys failed him again. Now, what's going to be the outcome of this? Is he going to really ream them? Is he going to really lay down the law? Is he going to punish these guys? I don't know. But SmackDown really was okay, The draft, I don't know. I kind of feel like the draft had a little bit more than Raw. SmackDown, I should say. Not that it was any better, because they still made mistakes. It's still, to me, a bust, but at the same time, I liked the selections they had for NXT. That's how you shake shit up. Ilya Dragunov, Lyra Valkyria, and Blair Davenport. I thought it was a fourth one. Maybe I'm just not thinking right now. But those 3, they're going to be game changers when it comes to the rosters that they're on right now. Ilya and Lyra are on Raw. And then you got Blair Davenport on SmackDown. You can see some great matches out of these 3 individuals with whomever they're going to put them up against. All right? So, to me, I'm trying to remember, where is Gunther And where is right now, I believe they were drafted. Were they drafted? No, they were drafted. Yes, last. Yeah. When were we drafted? Because it's like I want to. No, because why I'm doing. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. Raw. Oh, see, Gunther and Kaiser are on Raw, and so is Ilya Dragunov. You think that they're gonna have a feud with these guys first, and then Ilya is going to end up being a part of Imperium? That could be the case. Yes, a bitter foe is Ilya for Gunther, but together, and he was a heel at one point, and he was really, really like you can see deadly, lethal, just like Gunther. He has that style, that go ahead, knock you in the jaw, rattle your teeth kind of thing about him. He's a baby face, but let's see what happens because they're on Raw. He might be he might become a member in the future. Maybe by King of the Ring, maybe by SummerSlam. But I'm looking forward to that because now it's like now we're cooking. Now we're like we're putting gasoline on that damn fire and it's gonna really come. The fire's really gonna build. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna really reach higher and higher. You know what I mean? But like I said, SmackDown was okay. The draft was okay, more better than SmackDown, but at the same time, Raw. When I think Raw was did I say SmackDown earlier? I did, didn't I? I think it's somewhere I said it, but it's Raw, Monday Night Raw, right? I'm not if I'm not mistaken, but yeah. So it's better than SmackDown, but at the same time, it was a bust because they basically didn't do anything that aside from the choices I like from the NXT, even on SmackDown. What else did they do? Really, they didn't break up groups. They didn't do what they needed to really shake it up. But it's new. It's in the beginning era of Triple H. So let's see what happens next year in the draft. They might change things up. I hope they do. But anyway, that's my video. So for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Please, as always, like, share, comment. Please subscribe and hit that notification button. And well, thanks for watching my video. And for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And until next time, take care. And I will see you in my next video.